Welcome to this channel, and thank you also for subscribing and liking the video I posted the last time. So today I'll just go ahead to talk about some of the requirements for graduate school. Okay, if you want to apply for schools abroad, if you want to apply for any scholarship, the fundamental requirements you need to get your application done. But before I mention these fundamental requirements, I want you to know that once you have attended an accredited school or university in Ghana or in your country, you are a potential graduate student abroad. Okay? So once you have graduated from a school that is accredited, where you have your certificate, you have your transcript, you are a potential graduate school student abroad. Okay? So mind you, it is irrespective of your grade, it is irrespective of your class, conditionally, okay? So, yes, you are a potential student to study abroad. So now let's go into the fundamental requirement, the document for your graduate school. Now, the first requirement I want to talk about is recommendation letters, okay? Recommendation letters. So recommendation letters for me is one of the most important documents in this application process. Even for me personally, arguably I would say it is the most important. Okay, it is the most important because all the other documents you need, you can talk about your CV, you can talk about the essays you have to write, you can talk about the certificate, the transcript. It is interesting to know that all these documents depend on you. You have to get them. Okay, for example, the CV, you have to write it yourself or you have to do it yourself. These transcript and certificate. If you're a graduate, you have these transcript and certificate already. You cannot change them. If you have a first class, you have it already. If you have a second class, you have it already. You cannot change the grade. It's constant. Okay, if you have to submit some English proficiency letter, it is the school that will give to you. You have it. And what again? If you have to write essays, statement of purposes, you have to write them. But for the recommendation letters, it is your lecturer or your supervisor who has to write it. So for me, because it does not depend on you, it stands out to be the most important thing here as far as your application is concerned. Okay. Now, I'll tell you some reasons why I think that recommendation letters is first, or you should give heed or pay more attention to recommendation letters. It is because you can have all your document intact, but if you don't send recommendations, your document is not complete. You can have all the schools you want to apply. You can be you can be someone who deserves a school or a program, okay? When you can get even all your document intact. But if you don't have recommendations, your document or your application will not be complete. Have examples of friends who had very good scholarship offers or very good scholarship to apply for, but because of recommendation letters, they never got in. Okay? So for me, recommendation is very important. Now, how can you overcome the stress of recommendations? I tell people that if you are in school already, if you are in the university already, it is very important to create good partnership or good rapport with your lecturers. Okay? You may not be someone who is outgoing or you may be that introvert, but it is now good you know that you have aims of studying abroad. If you have the aims of studying abroad, then it is very important to create that rapport with your lecturers, with your supervisors, your lab managers, your technical managers. If you have also completed, maybe not long ago you completed from the university, it is also important to go back to keep contact with your professors, okay? Because you will need recommendation letters from them. The recommendation letters are very important. What happens is that mostly, because sometimes we don't keep the relationship. When we complete school, and then for those in Ghana, Africa, or Nigeria, you do national service. When you complete school, you leave campus, you go to do national service for 1 year. So sometimes after the 1 year of national service, and then now you realize that, oh, I can now apply for graduate school. I can now go to school. So when you check the requirements of application, then you see that you will need recommendation letters. It is there that you take phones to call your professors asking for recommendation letters. Remember, when you completed school, you have never had in touch with them. Okay? So after 1 or 2 years, and then now you see the need to apply for schools, and then now you start calling them. Well, it might work, but most of them might even have forgotten you. They cannot even remember you. So it is now that you call to say, oh, hello, sir, I was the one who was taking your bag after class every day. You have missed it. Okay? So some of the lecturers are so good, they can go ahead to write for you. But some of them, not because they don't want to, but because there is no rapport or there was no good relationship between you and them while you were in school, it becomes very difficult, okay, for them to write these recommendation letters for you. So it is very important. It is not that the lecturers are not cooperative, or it is not that the lecturers don't want to help. No, sometimes it is because the relationship was not there. So this is an advice I want to give. Just keep rapport, okay? Keep a very good relationship with your professors, with your lecturers. If you are working already, you might need recommendations from your work supervisors, from your industry supervisors, industry HRs. Make sure that relationship is there. Make sure that relationship is there. Now, one of the things also, again, I say that makes recommendation very important is that when you're applying for graduate school, okay, you cannot use one recommendation for all the schools you want to apply to. Okay, for example, if you have a school you want to apply, and then, for example, you want to apply to Michigan State University, you also want to apply to Ohio State, you want to apply to an Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So you have about five schools to apply. Okay, especially the schools in Canada and USA. You'll be asked to send a link to your professor or whoever is supposed to recommend you. Okay, so you input the email of that person, and the school will send a direct email to your professor asking for the recommendation. So most of the schools will have the professor or the recommender send the recommendation directly to the school. So it might not pass through you. Okay. Now, because of that, if the school or Michigan State School A asks of the recommendation letter from your professor, School B will also use the same process. So School B will also ask the same recommendation or a recommendation from your professor or your recommender. And the recommender will have to write a new recommendation. He can edit the previous one, okay, to suit this new school, and then he can submit it on your behalf. So what I mean is, every school and every action to the submission of recommendation, okay. Because of that, if you have 5 schools to apply, probably it means that you may have to go to your recommender 5 times, okay, except the schools who will require you to upload the recommendations yourself. But for most of the schools, 95% of the schools, you would have to ask your professor to upload the recommendations on your behalf. Okay. Now, this is where the issue is. If the report is not there, if the report is not there, when you go to the recommender once, twice, thrice, the recommender or your professor might be fed up. Okay, not because he doesn't want to do it, but the rapport was not there. You see, like, he doesn't even see the need to do it a lot of times for you. Yeah, so that becomes an issue, especially, excuse me to say, when you have applied previously for about 5 schools, and these professors helped you with recommendations, and then unfortunately you never got admission to the schools, and then you have to apply the following year. Remember, you have to go to these same professors again for recommendations. So if you don't take care, when you go to them once, twice, thrice, they may be fed up, and they may not want to go ahead with recommendations again. You see where the issue is? Yeah. So because of that, it is very important to create relationship. Just network. So I also advised that because it is important to keep relationship, sometimes you can even send them best wishes. Okay? You can send them Happy New Year, Happy New Month, Happy Birthday, Merry Christmas, some of these wishes. Okay? Sometimes when you start sending some of these wishes, they might not recognize you, or they might not see the need. Like it will be all of a sudden, this guy is sending me some stuff. But with time, they will recognize your name. They will recognize you. Okay? So it is very important that you can start that. Also, best wishes. You can send them best wishes and all. It is very important. Okay? So that at least when it is time for you to get recommendation letters from them, you will not struggle. It will be very smooth. Yeah. You may also want to do it to 2, 3, 4 lecturers at your disposal, so that in case you need recommendations, you will have to spread the recommendations amongst them, and then you get it. Okay. So, yeah. For masters, you need, most of the schools require 2 recommendation letters. And for PhD, some of the schools require 3. Most of the schools require 3 recommendation letters. So you can imagine. So you need more than 2 people, 3 people to help you write recommendations. Yes. So recommendations is very important. Yeah. It is one of the topics that is under discussed, okay, especially in graduate school. So please pay attention to recommendation letters, and yes, when you are able to work on that, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Especially, you'll be fine. So that's recommended. That's that for recommendation letters. Yeah. So I'll tell you one of the advice I give to people, especially those that have completed school for quite a number of years. Okay. Maybe you might have lost some contact. The only professor you know is the professor who supervised you on your final year thesis or final year project. So you may not have the contact of a lot of professors. Well, maybe you can take some day to visit campus and then go greet the professors. Yeah, just go check up on them. Be like, I came to check up on you. Yeah, just pass by. Okay, just pass by and then check up on them. Also, it works. You might get 1 or 2 contacts. You might create some relationship that might help you. Okay, so recommendation letters is very important. If you also want a lecturer or someone to recommend you, it is also important to inform the persons early. At least inform them 1 month before time. Some of them might ask you to write their recommendation and send to them. So inform them early so that you can also get it early for your application. So the next requirement has to do with your transcript or your school certificate. Okay, so if you are in school now, it is important to also study hard to get good grades and make a very good transcript for your applications. Yeah, that's what I'll say about it. And if also you have your certificate, your transcript, just take good care of it. I had a conversation with a friend who told me that something happened and he could not see his certificate again. Most of the schools give the certificate once. The original certificate, they give it only once. So please take good care of it. And also the next requirement will have to do with the essays, SOPs, motivation letters, etc. I would make a strong video on these later as the days go by to explain into details what you need to do or what you need to get a top-notch statement of purpose or motivation letter. The next requirement is academic CV, okay, academic CV. So I'll also make a strong video on the academic CV to explain it very well to you in the upcoming videos. What I want to say now is that the academic CV you need is different from the job professional CV, okay? The CV you need for your graduate school application is different from the CV you used to apply for some jobs in the industries and all. I'll go more into details and I'll explain it better for you. So yeah, these are the main fundamental requirements. The other requirement might also be English proficiency, okay? So this English proficiency is given by your respective universities. You can get them from the universities you attended. It is to show that you studied in English language, and for that matter, when you come here to study, you will not struggle with the English language because the English is used for studies here. Some of the schools might go ahead to ask for exams and other tests to show that, yes, you understand the English language. No worries, but see that English language requirement is also part of the fundamental requirements for your graduate school. Yes, so far, these are the requirements. In my next videos, I will take the CV and the SOPs one by one to go more into details to show you what to put on your CV to get a very strong CV for your applications. Thank you very much for today. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. You can also like and subscribe for more content. I'll be creating more content to take my time and explain things to you well for you to understand what to do. Yes. All right. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.